blue this Blue November in support of Prostate and Testicular Cancer Awareness Month. This time check is brought to you by TM Pick and Pay. Real value always.
Good evening and welcome to the main news. I am Tariro Malamike with Noble Maungwa at the Sign Language Desk.
My name is Joyce Mabika. Arthur Evans will be joining us later on in the bulletin from our Montreal studios in Bulawayo. And of course, we'll cap the bulletin with sport. And it is Larry Trusida to give us our daily dose. For now, let's take a look at our leading stories tonight.
President and SADC chairperson, Comrade Emmerson Mnangagwa, calls for the implementation of agreed positions to combat climate change.
In other news, public warned to exercise caution as localized downpours hit the country.
And in business, Zimbabwe moves to boost product supplies in the United Nations General Marketplace.
International cricket returns at Bulawayo's Queen's Sports Club. That and more when we look at sport.
And now we give you the news in detail. SADC chairperson, President Emmerson Mnangagwa, has implored countries to fully implement all agreements on addressing climate change.
He was addressing the World Leaders Climate Action Summit as global leaders converged for the official opening of the United Nations Climate Change Conference in Azerbaijan this Tuesday. The details are from our diplomatic correspondent, Josephine Mugio.
This Tuesday saw the official opening of COP29 in Baku, with over 70,000 delegates attending the climate change event, where leaders concurred on the need to act on the climate change crisis. President Emmerson Mnangagwa joined other world leaders for the official opening. The president later addressed fellow heads of state, where he spoke on the need to ensure that the world no longer implements half measures, but goes full force in terms of dealing with this crisis.
The COP29 theme is both timely and urgent, given the escalating global climate crisis. Science warns of the need to drastically reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Regrettably, pollution continues to degrade the environment, threatening the quality of our air and water, while biodiversity loss threatens food security, pushing millions into poverty and hunger. The time for half measures is over, and we all have a duty to fully implement our agreements.
Despite contributing the least in terms of greenhouse gas emissions, Africa bears the brunt of climate change.
Zimbabwe bears the scars of climate change and is currently experiencing one of the most devastating El Nino-induced droughts in history. The drought has negatively impacted nearly every aspect of life in Zimbabwe. My government, in April this year, declared a national state of disaster. The crisis extends beyond Zimbabwe and is affecting the entire Southern Africa region.
President Mnangagwa also attended a high-level roundtable on resourcing the energy transition with justice and equity. As you spoke about mining activities in the country, President Mnangagwa said Zimbabwe's goal is to transform from a supplier of raw energy to a notable participant in renewable energy technology products and solutions, while creating green jobs, fostering sustainable industrialization, and promoting economic diversification.
Our commitment to sustainable mineral development is also supported by mutually beneficial partnerships with the private sector to develop regional value chains as well as deepen international cooperation, networks and partnerships. Ambitions to guarantee energy transition with justice and equity, however, requires infrastructure investment and technology partnerships.
Africa is attending COP29, speaking with one voice on the need to deal with the climate change crisis. This year has been dubbed Finance COP as negotiations and deliberations are focusing on funding channeled towards developing countries to enable them to counter the vagaries of climate change. Meanwhile, President Mnangagwa paid a courtesy call on his Belarusian counterpart, President Alexander Lukashenko. They held this meeting behind closed doors. Harare and Minsk share strong relations, with President Lukashenko having visited Zimbabwe in 2023, where several memoranda of understanding were signed to promote trade between the two countries. Josephine Mugio, ZBC News, Baku.
At the opening session of the World Leaders Climate Action Summit in Azerbaijan began with a clarion call on climate investment to save the globe. The details from Memory Chamisa.
The second day of COP29 witnessed world leaders making bold statements on climate action, with the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres making three main priorities: emergency cuts on emissions, protecting people from the ravages of the climate crisis, and tearing down walls on climate finance.
And this is a story of avoidable injustice. The rich cause the problem, the poor pay the highest price.
Delegates weighed in, saying climate finance is not charity but an investment towards communities.
Most of our countries, African countries, has been affected by drought due to climate change. So the coming in of these initiatives will help our country, especially like what our president has said, that this should not be only theory. It must happen now.
I believe that every country who are responsible for this crisis should specifically take a leading role in solving them.
The problem that we are grappling with right now is the fact that Africa does not have the right quality and quantity of finance coming into it.
Host country president Mr. Ilham Aliyev highlighted the need for a just transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy sources.
Every natural resource, whether it's oil, gas, wind, sun, gold, silver, copper, all that are natural resources. And countries should not be blamed for having them and should not be blamed for bringing these resources to the market, because the market needs them. The people need them.
The message is clear: all countries must play their part or humanity pays the price. Memory Chamisa, ZBC News, Baku.
Climate financing interventions and review of taxes are some of the key priorities captains of industry have implored Treasury to deal with in the upcoming 2025 national budget to be presented later this month. We get more details from Owen Mandova.
Zimbabwe National Chamber of Commerce ZNCC Chief Executive Officer Christopher Mugaga has cited the need to flex the usual budget tools such as taxes and production incentives, but also highlighted that sustainable climate financing models are now key imperatives for a budget statement for every country.
Moving into 2025, I guess issues which the Treasury boss has to focus on, firstly, is to be able to create that typical climate-proof budget. It's no longer possible to talk of fiscal budgeting without a bias to knowing how we insulate ourselves from the climatic conditions which are posing a lot of threats, in particular the incessant, the unpredictable rain patterns, knowing fully well that Zimbabwe is very over-dependent on agriculture for its industry and livelihood.
The infrastructure sector, which was instrumental in sustaining the economy and avoided a potential slump in a year that was negatively affected by the El Nino-induced drought, is expected to play a key role in growth next year.
At least if we're going to see the 30% of the budget being put in infrastructure projects, as also proposed by also the local government ministry. Once that has happened, we are going to see traction in terms of our activities as a construction industry. So this is quite something that we look forward to if we were to say Zimbabwe is going to be an upper middle income economy by 2030.
Meanwhile, Zimbabwe Farmers Union ZFU is seeking a review of various taxes to reduce farmers' production costs.
We are anticipating a budget that will present some relief in as far as taxes are concerned. The removal of the IMTT is one of them. The removal also of VAT on live birds is one of our biggest expectations. And we are also looking at the forex retention coming down from 25% to around 15% or even lower.
Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion Minister Professor Mthuli Ncube is this month expected to present the 2025 budget statement to coincide with the transition into the National Development Strategy 2 policy blueprint, which starts next year. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Harare.
Electronic passports have eased the burden of acquiring the travel document, eliminating pressures endured by the citizenry for over 3 decades. In our next story, we revisit the past experiences of the passport application process in Zimbabwe and compare it to the present. Let's take a look.
5 years ago, we covered this story focusing on the challenges faced by passport applicants. These scenes from yesteryear are now a distant memory, as the current situation at the passport office offers an experience totally different from what used to be.
I walked in at about 3 minutes to 11 o'clock. It's about 23 past, I'm done. So the process is now very, very simple and very, very efficient.
It's almost mid-morning. Only a few applicants are getting their papers done here at the Central Registry Office in Harare. Back then, getting the first stage of application was a nightmare.
After lunch, my queue ashita go around.
Ticket number A339.
The advent of the e-passport has offered a gateway of efficiency for applicants and dovetails with government's target to attain an upper middle income society by 2030. The fears of yesteryear are still visible even among first-time applicants. These are stories shared within and beyond the country's borders, where the Second Republic has implemented the e-passport initiative, including in neighboring South Africa. Theophilus Chuma, ZBC News, Harare.
The Meteorological Services Department has advised the public to exercise extreme caution during the next few days, as the country is expected to receive heavy rains characterized by hailstorm in some areas.
According to the Meteorological Services Department, the rains which will sweep across the country will be associated with thunderstorm, lightning and heavy winds. Hence, the public is being called upon to exercise extreme caution.
We have a cloud band that is entered the country from the west, and it entered the western parts of the country, that is Matabele North and Matabele South, on the 10th, and we're expecting it to sweep across the country and make its exit on the 15th of November this month. And we have advised the public that these rains will be associated with some heavy storms, which may be accompanied by hail and some strong winds. And we have already witnessed some areas, especially around Mashingo, where some schools have been vandalized by these rains.
The Met Department reaffirmed the country's prospects of a good rainfall season.
Mvura gore rino itoita kuti inaye zviri normal. Manairo ainosita makore akawanda patinenge tine gore rakanaka nguva zhinji. Hatisi kutarisira kuti kuve nenzara, hatisi kutarisira kuti mvura yedu iwandise gore rino iri, totarisa mvura inenge iri nechepakati nepakati.
As the country graduates from the El Nino-induced drought into the La Nina, farmers are being called upon to take advantage of these rains to intensify their land preparations and planting and boost the country's prospects of achieving food security. Tendai Munengwa, ZBC News, Harare.
In a related story, a violent hailstorm that hit Merengwa's Mukonde area this Monday claimed the life of a grade 3 learner, while 8 schools, a clinic and several homesteads were also destroyed. Courage Boucher reports.
More than 100 families had their homes destroyed by a hailstorm which hit Merengwa district this Monday after heavy rains pounded most parts of the Midlands province over the past few days. The hailstorm also swept away roofs at 8 schools and a clinic in the district.
Process yatokanganisika zvakasimba because mukatarisa izvo zvino vana vari kutobatsirawo navararidzi kuti vatake clear ramp inguva yekuti vangadaro malesson
kuti vakwanise kuendesa vana kuchikoro kuti vakwanise kuzvichengeta kuzvitengera chikafu. Zvino mari dzacho idzodzo dzava kubodzokera kunogadzirisa dzimba.
Neurombo kuti takatorasikirwa neupenyu. Tine mwana wakashayika wakanovanda mvura pamashopu pabhawa mushure mekunge mhepo yatanga vari munzira kubva kuchikoro.
Merengwa Assistant District Development Coordinator Mr. Arnold Magaya confirmed the incident, saying one death was recorded.
Paita zvikoro zvakati wandei zvakwanisa kuti zvichipinda munjodzi yekutorwa matenga uye tine zvipatara zviviri zvakwanisa kutenga zvatorwa kuti matenga. Ini tine mwana 1 akwanisa kuzorasikirwa neupenyu hwake mushure mekunge andovanda mvura pasi pechimwe chitoro paZvomukonde business center.
Heavy but isolated rains have been falling across most parts of the Midlands province, with accompanying winds and hailstorms leaving a trail of destruction. Karajushes, ZBC News, Merengwa.
The government has distanced itself from the demolitions which took place in Harare's Belvedere suburb last week, orchestrated by the opposition-led Harare City Council. Let's hear the Minister of Local Government and Public Works, Minister Honourable Daniel Gare, speak.
We condemned that action, and yesterday we actually directed the mayor and the town clerk that stop the demolitions. And today we had a meeting which was chaired by Honourable Vice President Mohadi, and he instructed the local authority that there is nothing that you must do from now going forward without consulting the parent ministry, which is the Minister of Local Government and Public Works. Before you do anything else, seek guidance first, and we've guided them accordingly. But we distance ourselves, central government distance itself to such kind of behavior. We have nothing to do with that. The new dispensation values all citizens and respects the Constitution, which says housing is a fundamental right. People have got right to housing. But be that as it may, we must not take the law and put it in our pockets and say I can build a house wherever I want to build a house. The law will still visit you. We don't want to take advantage of certain developments and say because there was a judgment, people must not take advantage and now start building all over. I am saying this because we have now seen mushrooming of construction of cabins in open spaces, in the low density areas, in the high density areas, by unscrupulous land being sold by unscrupulous land barons, and also unsuspecting individuals who have turned themselves to become desperate people when there is no need to be desperate, buying and then building cabins, saying because there is a government says no houses are going to be demolished.
Elsewhere, rural electrification and industrialization is in motion, with government set to commission a 120-kilowatt mini-grid in the Dete area of Hurungwe North as the country gravitates towards an upper-middle-income society by 2030.
The completion of the 120-kilowatt Dete mini-grid has come as a relief for the local community. We have never had electricity since settling in the area in the 1980s. The development has benefited 2 local schools, a business center and several homesteads, with 101-year-old Sekuru Newton Mawodzwa among the beneficiaries.
Ini ndinonzwa kufara nokuda kuti muno murima mangati chinozvidiwo kwazvo kuti tifanane nokumadhorobha zvinotipa manyemwe.
Magetsi atatinawo aimbodona. But now because tikava nebackup yesolar tinonge tisina dambudziko kuti tinomboshaya magetsi here mbe titakutokwedza yatova continuous.
Muri musango mukuti tisafungidzira kuti tingasvika pasaizi yekuti tingarangarwawo saizvozvo kudai.
Mashonaland West Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Marin Chombo, says energy is a key enabler for the attainment of Vision 2030, while Rural Electrification Agency Provincial Head Engineer Last Taguma Sauramba gave an update on similar projects underway across the province.
Tatendera pano tikaona mashopu vari kushandisa, tikaona mudzimba muri kushandisa, tikaona futi zvibhorani zviri kushandisa magetsi waya, kunyatsoratidza kuti village ino chatosimukira sekuvision yaBaba Mnangagwa yevision 2030 yekuti upper middle income society for everybody. Kunyatsoona kuti kumaruva kuno kwetoti ndokwa kwakasarira, kunyatsoona kuti upenyu hwavo, raramo yavo yabudirira.
Tine masimilar systems muno muprovince anosanganisira mana pools, tikaisa imwe kurunene, tikaisa imwe kukuirirana, primary school kumondoro, tikaisa imwe kugadza kusanyati.
Government is promoting the use of renewable energy to mitigate climate change while also ensuring availability of adequate power supply as an anchor towards the attainment of Vision 2030. Tamuka Charakupa, ZBC News, Dete.
Now, for these and more stories, be sure to log onto our website. That's www.zbcnews.co.zw. You can also follow us on our social media pages. On Facebook, we are at ZBC News Online. On X, at ZBC News Online. And of course, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel at ZBC News Online.
And here are stories still to come ahead in the bulletin. In business, Zimbabwe moves to boost product supplies in the United Nations General Marketplace. And in sport, international cricket returns to Bulawayo's Queen's Sports Club. That and more when we return after this break. Stay with us.
EcoCash gives you more. EcoCash points are our way of saying thank you for being a loyal customer. You earn points every time you use EcoCash to send money, make payments, buy airtime, or cash out. These points accumulate and can be redeemed for voice airtime, data, or SMS. You can start redeeming your points once you reach 100 points, and redemption is in multiples of hundreds. To redeem or check points balance, dial *151*7*7# today. Terms and conditions apply. EcoCash gives you more.
This message is brought to you by the government of Zimbabwe.
We are excited! The Regional World Children's Day celebration is coming to Zimbabwe. 16 November, Victoria Falls.
Bilateral Primary School rose to life.
It is a celebration of Zimbabwe's milestones in children.
A celebration of our rights and responsibilities. Right to education. Right to protection. Right to shelter. Right to food. Right to health. Right to safety.
We are grateful for all the strides the Second Republic has made in child protection, and we are excited to be celebrating these with many children from
Malawi, Botswana, Namibia, Zambia, South Africa, Mozambique. You don't want
to miss this.
16 November 2024, Victoria Falls at Bilateral Primary School. Come and celebrate with us on our Regional World Children's Day celebration.
Applications are invited from suitably qualified and experienced candidates to fill in the vacant positions that have arisen in the Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation. The following vacancies are currently available: Manager, Power FM, Monitoring and Evaluation Manager, Marketing Executive, Graphic Artist, Finance Officer, Outside Broadcast Technician, Sub-Editor, Picture Editor, Animator, Traffic Officer. Applicants are invited to visit the corporation's website www.zbc.co.zw under vacancies, or to scan the QR code to make their applications. ZBC is an equal opportunities employer committed to diversity and inclusion. All vacancies closing on Monday, the 18th of November 2024.
Welcome back to the main news. India has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening bilateral ties with Zimbabwe, pledging to deepen cooperation in various sectors.
The Indian ambassador to Zimbabwe, His Excellency Brahma Kumar, met with Speaker of National Assembly, Advocate Jacob Mudenda, at the Parliament building in Mount Hampden this Tuesday, where deliberations included the geopolitical positioning of the two countries.
We have had very good political contacts under South-South cooperation, under non-alignment movement, and we recalled our excellent relations between political leaders of the two countries. And now again, when South-South cooperation is gaining momentum, India and Zimbabwe support each other at United Nations and other multilateral forum as well.
Issues of food security and increasing trade between India and Zimbabwe are being prioritized.
I also mentioned what India is doing in terms of capacity building and supporting government of Zimbabwe. So India has established around 17 Indo-Zim Technological Park in various institutes. In Harare, it is hosted by Harare Technological Institute, HIT. And I visited there and I found that it is very impressive, and students are using in machines provided by India. And these were established with, I think, almost $5 million grant assistance to government of Zimbabwe. And India also provide every year 270 scholarship to Zimbabwean government officers, which is under ITEC program, which is fully funded by government of India.
The two countries are exploring opportunities for further cooperation, including in areas such as renewable energy, digital technology, and tourism. Wellington Makonese, ZBC News, Harare.
And on that note, we now cross over to our Montrose studios, where Arthur Evans is on standby. Good evening, Arthur.
Thank you so much, Tariro. We start off right here in Bulawayo, where we're broadcasting from. The building layout and formats in Bulawayo is rapidly changing with the rise of partition buildings. Now, with this trend, it caters for growing demands for affordable workspace. However, concerns are emerging about its long-term implications, including the safety of its occupants.
This architectural shift, driven by the demand for affordable commercial space, is reshaping the city's landscape. Our news crew conducted a survey in the Central Business District, revealing the disorganization and chaotic nature of some partition buildings. Narrow corridors, poorly lit spaces, and the lack of proper signage were common observations. These conditions raise concerns about safety, accessibility, and overall experience for both tenants and visitors. Experts warn that this trend, if not properly regulated, could have far-reaching implications for the city's urban planning and economic development.
Basically, what needs to happen is that, again, within the city, we also need to create what are called industrial districts, where you would find that we have repurpose of an area. The buildings have to be properly retrofitted, and you have a concentration of these activities within that particular area. Look at infrastructure-wise, for example, your electricity, you look at your water supply, you look at your sewerage reticulation. These engineering structures, when they are being put specifically for buildings, they've got what we call a capacity. To say a particular building, for example, is supposed to be used by so many number of people, and what ends up happening is overload.
Is need to consider the adherence to the city's zoning regulations, and this is quite critical. It is also important to monitor the supply of these partition shops to prevent an oversupply, and also to be able to maintain competitive rental rates for the developers.
Economic analyst Mr. Stevenson Lamini emphasized the need for policy changes to address the emerging trend.
So long-term planning requires a more proactive urban planning policy, where there is investment in infrastructure and investment in a sound policy that clearly designates which complexes can be partitioned and creates greater space for partitioning, because this has a risk of shunning away large-scale investors who are very sensitive to clear regulatory frameworks when it comes to economy of a city.
As Bulawayo continues to evolve, finding a balance between economic growth and urban development remains crucial to ensure sustainable economic growth. Yolanda Moy, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
We stay focused on the built environment on a positive note. The Second Republic's devolution program is enhancing healthcare provision in Chiredzi town after the construction of Makondo Health Center facility through harnessing of devolution funds.
The healthcare facility, which is currently at roof level, is set to benefit more than 2,000 households in Makondo and Sovani residential areas in Chiredzi town who were only relying on one clinic for healthcare services. Construction of the healthcare facility, which will also offer maternity care, began last year and is expected to be completed early next year.
We thank our government, led by His Excellency Comrade Tim Nangagwa, who availed devolution funds to construct this health facility. It started last year. At this moment, we are now at the roofing stage where we are constructing the trusses and putting up the roofing sheets.
Under the devolution program, Chiredzi Town Council has also purchased capital equipment which will provide quality service delivery to communities, particularly in the roads construction and waste management sectors.
Tiri kuti pakupera kumwedzi uno tipa redu brand new renge chisvika rinova 20 cubic netiyo biracho basa hombe rataitira kuti tenge mishini yakadaro zvinotichipira uye zviri faster kuti katangofunga kuita basa tine marodzi anoda kuitwa kubva kuLowlands muno mamakondo nemamwe mawadzi anoda kuita marodzi kune maponzi achada kucherwa kuitira kuti nzvimbo ino yeward 8 ichiva nesewer reticulation kuMelbourne the same. Tiri kuita nyaya dzemvura nemasuwa kuti vanhu vachikwanisa kugara vane mvura.
The devolution program is part of government's Vision 2030 drive, which has seen rural and urban communities being transformed through key infrastructure projects that include clinics, schools and roads. Geima Tambo, ZBC News, Chiredzi.
Our next story takes us back to Bulawayo, but it concerns every man in the country. The Bulawayo community is concerned and on edge as male suicide cases are on the rise, with 2 males having committed suicide over the past weekend amid growing calls for immediate action against the social ill.
A real man does not cry out loud or voice his concerns. A real man cries from within. These are sentiments ached in the hearts and minds of many men who die in silence and resort to the path of ending their lives due to what many say is a lack of support structures that assist men with emotional challenges. Residents of Bulawayo have added their voice to this concerning trend where male suicides are alarmingly on the rise, citing the need for more open platforms for men to discuss their troubles.
Challenges atinosangana nawo hatikwanisi kunyanya vechirume kugoverana nevamwe kuti tidisclose zvatiri tisangana nazvo mukati mokurarama. Samwe mukuzvichengeta zviri mukati momunhu uri wega zvinokudya moyo to an extent yekuti unogona ngofunga kuti kufa kuri nane.
Abo babane abalazibindi ngoba umama engamhlupha endlini ukuthi lungisela abantwana lokhu ufuna abantwana bafuna lokhu ubaba secina sezibulala. Obaba uningi basola izibindi kumele bebe lezibindi ngoba vele irresponsibility ikhona.
Banokuthi bangaba nenkinga emndenini o bangaba nenkinga nezihlobo bangaba nenkinga nabamakhosikazi ezindlini. Izona izinto ezikhoza ukuthi bagcine sebezibulala ngenxa ukuthi basuka bengakwazi ukubekezela o yabona ukuzibulala sindathi is no solution there.
According to recent statistics, the city has recorded a 30% spike in male suicide cases over the past 3 months, with more cases still being recorded.
Police in Bulawayo has witnessed an increase in cases of sudden death by hanging. Our statistics show that 21 cases were recorded from the period June 2024 to September 2024. Of the 21, 20 are males. As the police, we encourage members of the public, especially men, to open up, talk to someone. A problem shared is a problem half solved.
Causes of this tragic trend have varied, as some have blamed it on financial challenges, social challenges like infidelity and relationship pressures, with social commentators noting the need for society to allow men to air out their challenges and thus promote their endurance. Grace Sibanda, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
To all my brothers watching, speak to someone. A problem discussed is a problem half solved. Our next story takes us to the Midlands province, where government has endorsed the construction of an uptown hotel in Gweru Central Business District in a move set to ease accommodation challenges in the city of progress.
The new hotel, to be constructed at a cost of more than 600,000 United States dollars, complements the existing conference center and a restaurant that has changed the face of Gweru on the tourism front. The proprietors of the hotel facility say they are inspired by the Second Republic's industrialization and reindustrialization efforts.
I actually look forward to it. I've actually brought my son here to join me from overseas. I see a lot of low-hanging fruit, and hopefully we'll lead the way, others will follow. We're doing a lot of projects with the university to create income for self-employed people. But yeah, we do see a lot of other projects we have started to put into effect, including prefab housing. We expect to sweep the country by storm.
We decided to add more value in terms of accommodation, which is lagging behind. If we make or build a hotel in Gweru, we employ, we also accommodate ourselves.
Government says it supports development efforts in all sectors of the economy as these contribute to the provincial gross domestic product figures.
I urge our local authorities to fully embrace ease of doing business and His Excellency the President's call to action to improve on service delivery and customer satisfaction. We don't want to hear that these plans have stayed more than 1 month in office. We want this project to kick off.
The establishment of the hotel in Gweru further solidifies the province as the investment destination of choice after contributing a remarkable 11.2% to the national GDP, according to the latest Zimstad figures of 2023. Tafara Chukumira, ZBC News, Gweru.
From the city of progress, we progress on with the bulletin. My name is Arthur Sevens for the Montrose News Desk. We progress to Pocket Hill.
Thank you very much for that update, Arthur. Now, the government says the media plays an important role in propelling development, with strategies being put in place to ensure an improved working environment for the journalists. Mercy Martina gives us more.
Officials from the Ministry of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services and other stakeholders are gathered in Masvingo for a week-long strategic planning review workshop. The meeting, which started this Monday, saw government recognizing the importance of the media in propelling the attainment of Vision 2030 aspirations.
We'd also like to thank the journalists for the enhanced transparency and positivity in the area of publicity of those stories that sometimes come in a vague manner and in unclear circumstances, leading to misunderstanding of what is happening on the ground. But with your efforts, expertise, you have been working so hard in seeing into it that proper coverage is done, and we have the people, of course, receiving and getting information in a manner that is going to leave them with clear understanding of what is happening.
The mantra of leaving no one and no place behind should be your driving force. The tenets of the NDS1 and the developmental progress made so far should be communicated to all four corners of the nation. Go out to the communities, go to the people, and let that continue in earnest in 2025.
Media stakeholders paid tribute to government for ensuring an improved working environment, with parastatals such as Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation, Zimpapers, and the Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe, among others, pledging their commitment to support the ministry to fulfill its mandate.
There is a very important aspect on the development of an effective and coherent information communication strategy to adequately and accurately inform the nation and the international community. This is the space that we say as ZBC, we are ready, full throttle, to support the ministry in order for our country, Zimbabwe, to achieve that particular objective.
The BAS is committed to playing that role of regulation, coordination, and creating that vibrant, diverse, and inclusive media landscape that empowers citizens and contributes to that.
We also appeal to the ministry to try and sensitize government and government agencies on the importance of the Freedom of Information Act, which came into effect. This was the first law to come into effect after the outlawing of IPA in July 2020, followed by the Stemming Act in 2021.
The review workshop is running under the theme Re-engineering Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services to facilitate a two-way communication strategy. Mace Matina, ZBC News, Mashingo.
I'll take you beyond our country's borders, where the ongoing Sudan conflict has caused severe damage to the country's infrastructure, especially its water supply system, posing a health threat to millions of people. That and more in the following report.
Sudan's water supply has been disrupted, along with power and gas supplies, as well as communication services. The situation has been worsened by shortages of food, medicine, and fuel due to continuous conflict between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary rapid support forces. The 18-month-long conflict has seen many regions of Sudan facing severe damage to their sewage treatment systems, with sewage flowing everywhere, leading to widespread transmission of infectious diseases. Multiple areas in Sudan have witnessed a new wave of cholera outbreaks since mid-July this year. According to statistics, Sudan has recorded over 30,000 confirmed cases of cholera nationwide, with over 900 reported deaths. Meanwhile, areas not directly affected by the conflict, like the coastal city of Port Sudan, have received around 200,000 people fleeing from conflict zones, thereby straining water and electricity resources in the city.
In a battle report released this week, the Russian Defense Ministry says Russian forces have continued to advance on different Ukrainian fronts and have taken control of settlements in the Pionsky region. The Russian army has attacked Ukrainian military airports, tactical missile production workshops, test sites, production workshops, and storage sites of attack drones. They also reported that they had launched strikes on Ukrainian military arsenals, fuel depots, and logistics centers. The Russian-Ukraine war has been ongoing for nearly 3 years now.
On that note, we take a break, but when we come back, we'll be giving you the business news. Stay tuned.
EcoCash gives you more. EcoCash points are our way of saying thank you for being a loyal customer. You earn points every time you use EcoCash to send money, make payments, buy airtime, or cash out. These points accumulate and can be redeemed for voice airtime, data, or SMS. You can start redeeming your points once you reach 100 points, and redemption is in multiples of hundreds. To redeem or check points balance, dial *151 *7 hash today. Terms and conditions apply. EcoCash gives you more.
Unwrap a world of entertainment with DSTV.
All right.
Wow.
It's who I am. Time for you to see the world.
The only thing that is important is happiness. That's the reason why I'm here. Wish me like.
This is where all the fun times are happening. There we go again. Fantastic goal!
Join me. Experience the magic with DSTV, your home of entertainment.
Hello, represents a market of over 14 billion United States dollars annually for all types of goods. With information arising that the UNGM, which is the regulatory body for the supply of goods to the UN agencies, has started registering suppliers for next year. Zimbabwe's business community has also expressed their interest in doing business with the viable and a bigger global trading group.
Doing business with the UN is actually empowering. It's a game changer, in fact. It's an opportunity to participate in international markets, compete with international business. It's an opportunity to improve as a company. It's an opportunity to grow.
We are actually looking for opportunities, especially consultants opportunities in the area of health supply chain. Right now, UNICEF is on the drive for supply chain professionalization. You see, when it comes to, for example, medical products like vaccines or any pharmaceuticals, it's not only about access, but when you receive the product, is it safe and of a good quality?
We haven't done quite a lot with the United Nations in terms of business that we've been doing, and we'd really like to expand that. We're hoping that if we can unlock the value chain in Zimbabwe so that a lot more companies can get access to business with the United Nations as beneficiaries of business with the United Nations, as the Secretariat has stated, we would benefit our economy to a great deal.
The local business community is interested in supplying a wide range of goods within the agriculture, textiles, manufacturing and horticulture, among others, to the UN markets. Focus by the industrialists on the UNGM is in line with Zimbabwe's export markets diversification stance, aimed at reducing reliance on few external buyers. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
We take a break for sport. Stay tuned.
This message is brought to you by the Government of Zimbabwe.
We are excited! The Regional World Children's Day celebration is coming to Zimbabwe. 16 November, Victoria Falls.
Baba Primary School rose to life.
It is a celebration of Zimbabwe's milestones in children.
A celebration of our rights and responsibilities.
Right to education.
Right to protection.
Right to shelter. Right to food. Right to health.
Right
to safety.
We are grateful for all the strides the Second Republic has made in child protection, and we are excited to be celebrating these with many children from
Malawi, Botswana, Namibia, Zambia, South Africa, Mozambique. You don't want
to miss this.
16 November 2024, Victoria Falls at Baba Primary School. Come and celebrate with us on our Regional World Children's Day celebration.
Shark on the line.
He took my fish.
You guys, did you see that? I just was like, what?
I really want you to find someone nice who would mean the world to you and make you so happy.
Bernardo Silva, Stones, Foden, a little bit of time. Oh, what a shot! What a goal! What a player!
Africa Cup of Nations Qualifier Morocco 2025. It's the final push for qualification as the Warriors face Kenya Harambee Stars on the 15th of November 2024 at 1800 hours Central African Time. Watch the match live on ZBC TV as we bring you the match from the Peter Mokaba Stadium in Polokwane, South Africa, and on the 19th of November, the Warriors take on the indomitable Lions of Cameroon at 1400 hours Central African Time, live from Douala, Cameroon, only on ZBC TV. Don't miss out. To advertise, contact Wilson on 0775 902 040.
Do you remember back in the day? We would gather at that one house that had a TV in the whole neighborhood to watch our favorite programs on ZBC. Whether it was thrilling wrestling matches, captivating dramas, or the iconic Ezomgito, ZBC TV was an integral part of our upbringing. It wasn't just a channel, it was a shared joy that brought us together. Fast forward to today, and ZBC continues its tradition of delivering top-tier entertainment to your homes. Whether you're tuning in for
Welcome back. It's now time for sport. International cricket returns to Bulawayo as cricket powerhouse Pakistan will tour Zimbabwe from the 24th of November to the 5th of December.
After missing international cricket in Bulawayo, cricket fans will be treated to some cricket action as Pakistan will tour Queen Sports Club from the 24th of this month. Local organizing committee chairperson Vuminda Bamoyo revealed that the stage is set for the much-awaited tour, which will see prominent cricketers battling it out in the city of kings and queens.
Playing Pakistan, which is a very big team, you know, they've been ranked #1. They've won the World Cup before. They've won ICC Champions Trophy. So it's very exciting for the people of Bulawayo who have been complaining about not getting cricket. So now is our chance. Let's come to Queens and support. We've got the facilities. We're working very hard to make sure that we give you an international standard ground.
Organizers believe the tour is a platform for budding players to transition.
Yes, it's been a good hunting ground. We have some bad memories of what happened, I think, during the qualifiers when the last hurdle we failed to clear it. So the boys are willing to come back and make that right. You know, the team has been doing relatively well. We played India in a series in Harare now, and we gave a good account of ourselves against some really good quality players. So we're hoping that the new breed of players coming through the system will show that Zimbabwe cricket is once again a powerhouse to be reckoned with.
Two sides will tussle it out in 3 ODIs and 3 T20s. Meanwhile, Afghanistan is built to also tour Queen Sports Club on Boxing Day. Mthokozi Stube, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Premiership action beckons in Kwekwe after ambitious side Kwekwe United
winning games until there was a time when they could feel they can be champions. So I kept on telling them that to be champion, you have to work hard, you have to be disciplined, there must be teamwork, there must be one love. So all of those things were part of our success.
Central Region Division 1 chairperson Patrick Wall hinted that all roads will lead to Shabane for the crowning moment. Kwekwe United were involved in a fierce contest with Tongogara, but their win away to fellow Midlands side Chapungu gave them a cushion, resulting in them opening a 4-point gap. The Army side may settle for 70 points if they win their remaining game. Mthokozi Stube, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Meanwhile, across the Limpopo, the Warriors' first training session was affected by a heavy downpour which hit their new Polokwane base this Tuesday. The boys are, however, in high spirits as they prepare to take on Kenya in a crucial AFCON qualifier set for Peter Mokaba Stadium in South Africa this Friday.
The heavy downpour in Polokwane threw into disarray the Warriors' first day session. However, Warriors forward Kama Bilateral says despite the minor setback, the team is confident of booking a slot in the AFCON finals.
We're going into this game knowing very well what's on stake, and we know very well that it's a most important game. But at the same time, we're trying by all means to concentrate as much as we can to be calm and to be on our best on the day.
All the players called up for duty are now in camp apart from the injured Tino Kadewere. The Warriors are hunting for a point to qualify for the AFCON final set for Morocco early next year. Mthokozi Stube, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
The introduction of more sporting disciplines is creating opportunities to nurture young talent, with 11-year-old Chantel Chinduzi of Mutare now dreaming to be a chess grandmaster in the future. Kenya's Chivuje gives us more.
Chess, considered an elite sport, was only introduced at Secretariat Primary School in Woba's high-density suburb of Mutare only 4 years ago, but the school has already started to produce outstanding players. 11-year-old Chandel Chinduzi has conquered the district, claiming a gold medal during the recently held district competitions.
Ndakambotamba kuvhiti kumaseket ndikaita number 1, ndobva ndaenda kumazone, ndobva ndaita number 1, ndobva ndaenda kumadistrict, ndobva ndaita number 1, ndakuchenda kumaprovincial kubohera. Chess ndinoda kuzotamba kunze kwenyika sekuchina.
Another promising player, 9-year-old Tinoda Ishenyantima from the same school, he has also been excelling in the sport.
Ndakavotamba nefuti ndakaitya ndakaita number 1, ndobva ndatamba futi nezadzidzi ndobva nditya ndobva ndaita number 1. Ndoramba ndichienderera mberi ndichiramba ndichiwina chess, ndichiramba ndichitambo chess.
The school authorities and parents believe the introduction of more sporting disciplines is helping to nurture more talent.
As a school, we are happy to be offering these games that were not done in the high-density suburbs. So we are happy that our children are now even doing rugby, they are doing basketball, they are doing table tennis. We have brought in these games to identify talent.
Government has been encouraging schools to introduce more sporting disciplines to nurture talent as sport has become a huge industry. Kenya's Chivuje, ZBC News, Mutare.
Oh, well done to our little ones there. Continue to chase your dreams and remember the sky is the limit. Our budding football coaches in Matabeleland South have hailed the Zimbabwe Football Association, ZIFA, for organizing training courses meant to improve technical knowledge of the game.
Yes, boy. Hey, well done, boy. Well done, well done, boy. Well done. Move the ball, move the ball, move the ball. Yes, boy. Move and support, move and support.
These are the budding football coaches drawn from different districts of Matabeleland South who are so eager to join the beautiful game what sits up. The coaches are the beneficiaries of a ZIFA training course meant to build a solid foundation in the grassroots football. As they bagged instructions and offer advice to the grassroots team at Pelanda Stadium at the weekend, the upcoming coaches conquered the opportunity as fine-tuned training skills.
In the world, there are shortages of coaches, and for us to have an initiative like this one, we are very grateful, we are very happy to be here. The knowledge that we're gaining, it's not just football played on the pitch, but the terminologies of football that you learn, there are philosophies of football that you learn, and we wouldn't be able to gain all of that if it wasn't for this great initiative by the Zimbabwe Football Association.
Football will change. Football changes every day. So for us young coaches, we are learning a lot. Kudzidza kwaticheta kusikungodzidza zvotigare nazvo. Tichanodzidzisawo ma upcoming coaches, players.
The training course anchored on research and scientific knowledge of the beautiful game is part of the Football Mother Body's quest to improve football standards in the country.
Tauya kuzodzidzisa makochi kuti vazive chaizvo kuti bhora chinhu chakamira sei. Tivabvise paunhu hwavo hwavanga vainahwo, tivaise paunhu hwokwanisa kudzidzisa vana pwere maskills chaiwo atinoda. Kuitira kuti kana tichienda kana kunational team munhu aende achiziva a basic technique. Kwete zvokuti national team coach unotangisa kunodzidzisa mwana kuti anofanirwa kupasa so anofanirwa kusapota so kwete. So zviripo, it's a new syllabus, it's a new introductory syllabus from ZIFA, which I think it's so demanding.
21 coaches drawn from Matabeleland South received their introductory level 1 training. Providence Maranelli, ZBC News, Gwanda.
It's now time for us to give you the weather report.
Good evening, Zimbabwe, and welcome to tonight's weather report and forecast. Hope I find you well. Looking at our satellite image, we had a bit of radar imagery that is showing most of these areas receiving about 50 millimeters, but just a slight lull over the southern parts of Mashonaland East. Into the interior of Mashonaland East, we had areas such as Goromonzi reporting about 98, Joshua Mkabo Gomo Airport reporting 105, whilst Munezi had about 67 millimeters. And this was because of moisture which entered in over the southern areas, and we're still expecting that rain to continue into tonight, but a slight lull is projected over the weekend as seen here, where we're expecting a bit of thundery weather over much of the country as we get into tomorrow, as well as on Thursday, where we're expecting moisture to be still present over the atmosphere. But as we get into the weekend, it's drying out from the south, giving us clearer conditions over the southwestern parts of the country. And as such, for tonight, we're still expecting a bit of moisture. Into tomorrow, we're expecting cloudy conditions across much of the country, and as such, areas such as Victoria Falls should be generally cloudy. Same for Lupane, we're expecting rain showers still for much of Thursday and Friday, but weekend becomes less for also Matopos and Gwanda. We're expecting moisture to be still present up to Friday thereabout. Mashingo also projected to have the same up to Friday, but it clears off into the weekend. Same for Gweru with a slight lull in the weekend. Same for Kwekwe as well as Kadoma. We're expecting cloudy conditions for much of this week. For Harare, projecting rain showers still for Thursday and Friday. Same for Chinoy, we're expecting moisture to be still present from tomorrow into Friday. Kariba also expecting the same with a slight lull over the weekend. Same for Pindura, we're expecting clear zero skies over the weekend. Marondera also projected the same with cloudy conditions drifting into the weekend, whilst Nyangab clears off as we get into Sunday. That's all from the weather desk. We wish you a pleasant week ahead, and remember that when thunder rolls, it's best to be indoors. I'm James Goma Jr. for the Med Department.
Night's news bulletin from all of us here at Pocket Hill and our Montrose studios. Have a good night.
Good night.